What's up, everyone? So in this video I wanted to share with you something I learned about ethics and business ethics specifically. I was going to say epics for some reason, but I meant ethics. And it's really important. It's probably one of the most overlooked yet most important criteria when you are trying to succeed in your career and in your business. And I have all these examples to illustrate my point from very specific successful people, just so you know that I'm not just talking off the top of my head. These are specific people who are actually super successful that you can trust. I'm simply just curating this and sharing it with you. So why is ethics so important and why is it so overlooked? Well, it's so important because if you don't have ethics, everything else can turn against you. Warren Buffett said that one of the most important traits he looks for when he hires is this person someone who's honest and ethical? Basically, it means the same thing. It's, is this person someone I can trust? Because everything else turns against you if they're dishonest. Because the smarter they are, the more intelligent they are, the more capable they are, the more stuff they have on their resume that prove how capable they are, it just turns against you. They become an evil genius. And I've seen this play out numerous times throughout my life, and you've probably seen it too. Someone you thought you could trust, they did something behind your back, and because they were so smart, you didn't figure it out until they had stolen a lot of money or done something else to you. Now, why is this so overlooked? Because I guess society, this is just my theory, but society sort of overplays hard work and intelligence and all those other traits, and they forget about this. And yet it is one of the most important things ever. Now, let me get to some concrete examples of this. Tony Robbins. I was recently watching an interview with him on this show called Behind the Brand on YouTube. You can watch it for free. And he was talking, and about like halfway through his talk, it was like a 30-minute video, he went on this huge rant about ethics and how he lost millions of dollars because no one told him to be ethical and trust and partner with people that he could actually trust to do business with. And what ended up happening? These people lied to him and told him everything he wanted to hear, and guess what occurred? They cheated him and they stole a ton of money. And he kept emphasizing it because he kept making that mistake. Another example, and I guarantee you there's millions of other business examples. And this is one of the powers of learning this ahead of time. You're saving millions of dollars and years of wasted time and effort with some business partner or maybe some person that you don't want to do business with. Tucker Max, this guy's a multi-millionaire. He runs a company called Book in the Box. The point is, I was watching an interview of him on the Vaynerchuk show, and he said that when he converted his book into a movie, one of the big reasons it failed was because he hired a bunch of people back when he was young and naive that told him everything he wanted to hear and then lied and did other stuff behind his back when the movie production actually got started. And that movie, he said, would have done millions. I don't know if that's actually true, but it did a lot worse than that. And even if, he claims it would have done millions and it wouldn't have, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if someone's gonna lie and cheat and you know it, they're probably gonna steal money from you. And even if it's just like $50, that's still $50 out of your pocket that wouldn't have happened if you chose someone who's honest and who's with you. I have plenty more examples to illustrate this. And there's so many more that I can't remember, but I've heard so many from the podcasts I listen to, especially Mixergy and Eventual Millionaire and the Tim Ferriss Show. Those are great podcasts, and there's like so many examples of them learning this and then them giving advice on not to make the same mistake, and yet no one really listens for some reason. And another great one, EO Fire, check out that podcast too. Anyhow, back to the story. Here's another concrete example, okay? I just saw this literally like yesterday. FouseyTube. He released a video titled How I Became a Millionaire at 23. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the top YouTubers. He has over 15 million subscribers combined across all his YouTube channels, and millions more on other social media. This guy does pranks on YouTube, and he pretty much went through like his whole journey and the law of attraction. And I was surprised that my eyebrows were raised, because I didn't expect him to have any. I didn't know he had like certain elements of success like that. But I guess he does. So he starts talking, and then he relates how he lost hundreds of thousands of dollars at the start of his YouTube journey, because he signed a contract without reading it, because it was the first contract that was offered to him when he started his YouTube career. And they signed away over 99% of the profits. So he was getting like 1% of all the money he was making on YouTube. And that took him years to find out, because this guy was dishonest. It turned out to be this one guy living in his basement who started a YouTube network and ran ads to sign other people. This happens a lot, actually. And so he signed with this person, and that dishonesty led to years of wasted money that he would never get back, ever. And then he finally found out, cut this guy out, signed with a legitimate YouTube network, full screen, and then the first check he got was $20,000 per month. So you can imagine how much he lost out on. And so it's really ridiculous how that occurs. If you guys don't know the economics behind how people make money on YouTube, it's basically through ads, and he gets like millions upon millions of views every day, so he can run a lot of ads, and that's how he makes like that much money. But the point is, dishonesty and ethics matter, and most people do not put it into account. And it's one of the key things I look for. And I'm like so laser in on it, and no matter what anyone else tells me, like, oh, you don't have to worry about ethics, or oh, he's kind of honest, that's good enough, I don't believe it, because there's so many stories. There's this other CEO I ran into, and I started just talking about ethics to him because it was so important to me. And then he was like, he literally told me to my face, you know what, I learned that lesson a few years ago. I hired someone, and he was doing very complicated mathematical sales closing, and it had a lot of steps to it. And he would lie and say that he got more sales closed and leads closed than he actually did. And he hid it through accounting and all this like complicated math, because the business was complicated. And it took him years to find out. But when he finally did, that guy got fired and discharged. And he said that it will always come back to you. If you're dishonest, no matter what, that will come back to you in some way, and it'll bite you in the butt. And that's why I believe in it so much. And the number one person who taught me this was Warren Buffett. I didn't talk about him much in this video, but he has talked about it so many times in his interviews and his shareholder letters that it's become so obvious to me. And for 99% of the rest of the world, they're kind of really, they don't really care that much about ethics. And it's crazy because despite everything else in my life, religion and everything else, it turned out to be Warren Buffett and his business teachings that showed you that ethics isn't just the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do. It's because it's the best long-term solution anyways, if you want to make the most money, be the most successful. And that was actually the key concept that actually pushed me to be more ethical. So it's kind of crazy how that worked. Anyhow, I can go on and on, but this video is getting longer and longer. And of course, if you're on this personal development journey like me, and you listen to podcasts too, I guarantee you, you will start hearing the same type of, oh, if I only wish I knew. And hopefully that'll just cement the importance of it even more. Because the truth of the matter is, this world is not a world where everyone is nice. There are nice, trustworthy people out there, but there are also, unfortunately, liars, traitors, people who will say one thing and then stab you in the back. And because of that, you know, despite me being like a kind person, I have to be aware of that, and I can't trust anyone. And until they prove themselves. I don't mean I can't trust anyone. I just mean I can't trust anyone until I'm sure I can trust them. So keep that in mind, because that is an awesome thing. And I think not just on a career success and wealth level, but on a personal level, you just feel a lot better when you can actually be ethical and you knew you made your money the best way. And I want to conclude with a quote from Warren Buffett. You do not need to lie or cheat to make lots of money. And his whole point is that there are plenty of ways of making tons of money ethically, so there's no need to turn to tearing others down to do so. And that quote really struck me deep since I heard it years ago, and I recently heard it again, and it all came together. And I guarantee you, if you know anyone who has been in business for decades or a lot of years, you will know it is true. Go and talk to that person and ask them about how important ethics is, and ask if they have any examples, because more than likely they will give you an example of their own life about how they did this thing and it screwed up because this person was not ethical. And there's so many other stories I could tell. I'll give you one last one, because why not? Overheard this story the other day. Wasn't even part of the conversation, but I walked by it and I overheard it. And basically, this man was working for a company, and the guy under him stole hundreds of thousands of dollars secretly by charging the company's credit card when he went on business trips. And he would buy like the most expensive $10,000 hotel suites. And he got away with it for a couple years, until one day they found out. And that's when it bit him in the butt. Everything that this man stole was charged on his credit card once again through his severance package. So they fired him, and because they had to fire him, they had to give him an employee severance bonus, because it was like the rules of the company. And he would have gotten like 6 months of paid time off to find another job, but they just deducted all of that because they got back the money that he stole from them. And so it came back to bite him in the butt, and all the money he got without working for it, he ended up paying back for. So at the end of the day, he came out worse off, because now his reputation was ruined, and on top of that, he was back to zero. Was it worth it? Because you get a night at a $10,000 hotel suite, okay, but then a year later you're charged for it. So just goes to show you. And that is why business ethics is important, why it matters so much. And hopefully this will be the big advantage in your life that will save you years of time and millions of dollars of lost wealth. Hopefully it helped you, and if one day it did, and if one day it did save you money, please come back, leave a comment, and let me know. Thanks for watching.